German public is already in war. It's already here because I know that when I'm speaking with my German friends. I know that because all of them are hosting Ukrainian refugees right now, because a lot of them are coming to our demonstrations, because a lot of them are having problems with sleeping.
Accepting that another power is willing to use military force and sees it as part of its foreign policy toolbox is very difficult for Europe.
There's a lot of soul searching going on right now. Most of the political establishment and a large part of the electorate realizes that they made a lot of mistakes.
Others have predicted this and we've not seen it. And we didn't want to accept that this can become a reality.
Because they've been fooling themselves for so many years about Russia in particular and about world politics in general. And aren't we out of this 19th century world of spheres of influence and might makes right? All of this was supposed to be the past.
Germany had a conception of its own role as a civilian power, as a power which benefited from the peace dividend after the end of the Cold War, and therefore never had to think about military instruments and never felt threatened itself. So there was no real security threat that Germany had after the end of the Cold War.
When the Berlin Wall fell, they convinced themselves collectively, well, that this is the future for themselves, for Europe, and for the world. That in fact, hard power, aggression, and therefore the need for deterrence, that's all the past. That's unenlightened. The Germans started cutting military spending, and from an army that was 500,000 strong at the height of the Cold War, they went down to something that can barely defend the territory of Germany today.
And the Germans have become wonderfully accustomed to having it both ways, which is to say, to be able to stay home militarily and still reap the benefits of the American security umbrella, its deep integration into the European Union.
And all you have to do vis-a-vis Russia is to keep talking to them nicely, and they'll go away, they'll stay away, they'll behave themselves.
And awakening a society now to the realities of the world is necessary.
A turning point in the history of our continent. That's how Chancellor Olaf Scholz described Russia's war against Ukraine. Speaking to a special session of Parliament, the German leader announced a raft of policy changes that would have been unthinkable just days ago.
When I saw and heard Olaf Scholz speaking on that Sunday in the Parliament, I was surprised. I didn't think the Germans were capable anymore of radical gestures.
Permanent security in Europe is not possible with Russia there. Putin is endangering this.
He declared a U-turn. Olaf Scholz said, well, the assumptions were wrong. Hard power does matter. The military does matter. Deterrence does matter. Traditional security does matter. Energy geopolitics does matter. The subtext was, we've been wrong all along.
Accepting that we will have a continuous state of conflict with Russia, not only in Ukraine, but also about European security, this is a mentality and identity shift that still needs to take place in Germany.
And conversely, you have a younger generation that's been sort of awakened from this idea that Germany should largely stay out of conflict, certainly military conflicts, where there's a whole group of people now who think that having some sort of posture that would defend a defensive posture for Germany and for NATO is useful.
Now, Berlin plans to drastically beef up military spending as a result of the Russian invasion of Ukraine. It's not alone. Denmark and Sweden say they're also raising their military spending over the coming years.
Europe really has to invest in its own defense. And that's something especially Germans have to prepare for mentally, because due to the post-Cold War history, German society has become very harmony-loving.
Of course, it would be more comfortable to go back to the way it was, but I think the mask has come off of Vladimir Putin.
Germans realized that they were waking up out of a decades-long sleep of naivete and self-delusion. And the fact that they woke up out of it is a good thing that I think Europe and the world should be very happy about.
The question of how deep that transformation goes depends on the honesty and the fealty in which German leadership engages the German public in a conversation of what responsibility in an international sense really means going forward.